Healthy economy depends on the health and the strength of the business enterprises and their capacity to tolerate crisis, decline, um, shutdown, or any unforeseeable um, event could happen to disrupt the flow of the revenue to the companies. In other words, it should have uh, capacity just like a human body. When we get infected in any virus or bacteria, all that depends on our immune system. If we have a good immune system, the body will resist the virus and will survive it. If we don't, then we don't. Then we may need assistance by the doctors, by the medicine, by the therapies, whatever required. So when we have a crisis like corona virus, and that required a shutdown of a good portion of the economy, like the factories, like the schools, the malls, the retailers, cafe, restaurants, tourism, flying, hotels. That's gonna cut the revenue immediately from these enterprises. All these companies, they do have expenses, they do have employees, they do have a rent, they do have other expenditure required for the business. So how they gonna manage that? If they had a good cash flow, and the cash flow here equal to the immune system of the natural physical body of a human being. If they do have a surplus, if they have a reserve cash, then they will survive the storm. They will survive the shutdown. They will survive the temporary, even though it's long, they could survive it. And if they survive it, that's mean they need to continue taking care of their employees, their valuable human resources that it cannot be replaced easily later on. If they let everybody go or half of their staff go, and then when they go back to normality, it's going to be very hard to find the right staff to keep the companies growing in the future. Just like a human being, we're born to live forever as human beings because we don't have a day that we're going to die. Companies also, they have the going concern model. When they start business, they assume they're going to grow. They are not going to shrink. And they are not going to die. They're going to live forever. It's the going concern. And in order to do that, we need to assume that we're going to go through problems. We're going to go through a crisis. We're going to go through a decline. We're going to go for natural disasters, tornadoes, storm, flood, fire. And we're going to go through man-made problems. Like the company, they have some kind of liability or bad product, or they get shut down because of a virus in the factories or in their lab or in their product. Suppose it is a factory for food, and if you have a virus, you shut down, you recall your products. Does that mean for any crisis like that, we're going to close forever? No, we should not. So what is that? What's the requirement to survive these things. To survive it, we need a good immune system for our corporates. They need to keep a good percentage of their assets as a cash or close to cash, like good portion of their assets has to be liquid, like in CDs, like or in saleable stocks or government securities. And it's not a bad idea to keep at least 20% of any corporate asset as very valid. In a way that the ratio between the current liability and the current asset has to be 2-to-1. I mean, the current asset has to be as twice as the current liability. And the asset, of course, should include the inventory, and sometimes the inventory is not liquid, it's not sellable. So we're talking about a very much liquid inventory. A healthy economy for any corporates, it should be at least you will be able to survive any disruptions for at least 1 year. And that's why when coronavirus become a problem and the shutdown, all the companies, they closed. And immediately, a lot of them, they fired their employees. Or they file bankruptcy. How could that happen? They get shut down and within 2 weeks, they run out of cash to pay their responsibility and liabilities and account payable and rent. And why? With all the help of the government, still they couldn't survive. A lot of companies, they are filing bankruptcies. And that's a lack of being healthy and having a good immune system. And that's the liquidity of their assets. Big companies. Why they do that? Because they want to invest the majority of their assets, and they take chance and they take risk. And they think always they live in a wonderland, that nothing gonna happen, just like a human being. They will never happen. That we don't think that we're gonna get sick one day. But we know that's not the truth. We are gonna get sick. And we have to have a good immune system in our body. I think perhaps there is a lack of absentees of any kind of regulation. Perhaps there should be a regulation that required, in particular, large corporates, medium-sized corporates that owned by the public. It should be monitored. And there should be some kind of control that they have to keep a good part of their assets are liquid to survive any kind of interruptions in the future. Big companies, especially the publicly owned, big and medium size, I think the government, they owe it to the public because it's publicly owned. They need to protect them. They should not just follow anybody can take risk and chance. And even though they've been making a lot of money in tens and 20 years, 30 years, they make a lot of money. The minute they have any problem, in the first week, they fire all their employees and they become liability on the insurance system, on the unemployment system, that the taxpayer need to take care of that. Why? They make all that money all these years. They should have some kind of surplus, some kind of reserves to be responsible toward their employees. And in this, there is absence of regulation. I mean, if you have a restaurant, they come and check to see that you are doing a healthy food. I have a retail business. We got at least 10 agencies, they come and check on us. They check our POS, they check our scales, they check our fire department, our signs, our everything. They come and check on us. Why we don't check on the health of the huge, large, publicly owned corporate? I am making a point here. I hope somebody will give it attention and study it. Perhaps it will protect the economy from collapsing just like that. It happens in 2008. For any reason, everything collapsed. Why? Because they don't have the reserve. So in order to keep the corporate playing its positive role in the economy, they should have that safety, the buffer, that they could survive the storm. Just like a ship. In every ship, there is a small boats in case something happened. They could survive. Thank you.